The US military has been carrying out airstrikes against Islamic State in Syria for a year now. Well, as you would be aware, Russia has now joined the campaign in a big way. 64 attacks on IS targets in just 24 hours. But Moscow's motivations are somewhat dubious, the West would say, with Putin also appearing to target Western-backed rebels to advance Bashar al-Assad's regime. Otago University international relations expert Robert Patman joins me now. Robert, thanks so much for joining us. How
Good morning, Paul.
Balanced on a knife edge are we here? Because to a degree, this could easily turn into America versus Russia, Turkey versus Russia.
It could, and it is, as you say, it's a very complex situation, and it's a very high-risk strategy for Mr. Putin. There are worries, of course, in the United States that Mr. Obama's approach, which is if Russia is silly enough to meddle in this complex situation, then let him. That's causing some concern.
Is there an issue here that we are told that Putin's target is IS, but his main motivation, we believe, is supporting Assad's regime? Is there a danger here that actually IS could grow in strength the way this is playing out?
Yes, I think that, a lot of people have been very quick to believe this is going to be a great triumph for Mr. Putin. I'm deeply sceptical. His tactic, basically, Paul, is to bolster what has been the crumbling Assad regime. And that means taking on all opponents of the Assad dictatorship, whether it be IS or some of the groups which have been armed and supported by Western countries, including the United States.
How do you imagine this is going to play out over the next few weeks? Because it is going to come to a head very soon, I would think.
Yes, I mean, I think the Americans will, and the Russians, both have a vested interest in making sure there's no potential incident which would result in a confrontation. And I think Turkey's conscious of that as well. But I think what the Russians are doing may well backfire on them in two senses. Firstly, the Russian Air Force has an appalling maintenance problem, and given the stress and strain of the conflict, it's only a matter of time before they start losing planes. Secondly, they are setting themselves up, by bolstering their military presence, they are setting themselves up as a terrorist target in the Middle East, which cause problems for Mr. Putin.
And obviously there are financial constraints placed on them as well, because domestically Russia's a cock case, isn't it?
The Russian economy is running on empty, projected to have minus 2.3 growth this year.
Just very quickly, did we see over the weekend Turkey pay the price for essentially being on the side of the West?
I think that's the Turkey has certainly entered the fray against Islamic State, but another big enemy of Turkey is the Kurdish separatists who've been the most effective opponent of IS.
All right. Robert, thank you very much. Sadly, we're out of time, but I thank you very much for joining us. Robert Patman, Otago University international relations expert. Thank you so much.